Now you're good to go.
Okay, it is February 11th at 6:06 p.m. and I'm going to call the meeting of Clackamas River Water to order. We were going to have a work session with Mr. and I will probably pronounce his name wrong, Lipzig. He was an applicant for the budget committee, and but we need to move forward. So I'm going to just bypass that. We'll go straight into our regular meeting. Karen, would you call roll, please?
Commissioner Anger.
Here.
Commissioner Donnell.
Here.
Commissioner French.
All here.
Commissioner Garrison.
Here.
Commissioner Kalani.
Here.
All present.
Okay, please keep in mind that this meeting is being conducted remotely in accordance with Governor Brown's executive orders with regard to current medical issues in public meetings. We are being recorded. Anything you broadcast may be captured by the recording. If anybody loses a connection during the meeting, we'll make the best effort to try to get you reconnected. After each speaker on the agenda has concluded their presentation, I will call upon each commissioner to comment or ask questions. Please allow the presenter to complete the presentation before you give comments or ask any questions, and do not interrupt them. Okay, that's that. Okay, first order up. Do I have a motion for the approval of the agenda?
So moved.
And I second.
Karen, please.
Commissioner Anger.
Yes.
Commissioner Donnell.
Yes.
Commissioner French.
Yes.
Commissioner Garrison. Commissioner Garrison.
That's a yes.
Commissioner Kalani.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you, everyone. Okay, public comment. Karen, do we have anyone online or any written comments that come in?
Let me take a look real quick at the participants, see if there's anybody I can't see on my screen. You have a few of your budget committee applicants
I see that.
on here, and a couple of other district board members, and then the regular group.
Okay, all right, I apologize. Robert, welcome. Adora, I see you're on here. Aaron, thank you. Ted, I see you're on. Of course, Com is keeping us all together. All right, we'll move right on to the action items. Hold on. Okay. Number one is resolution 2021 appointment for 4-year term to the budget committee for biennium 2021 to 2023. Todd or Carol want to explain how we're going to do this?
Yeah. So I'll turn it over to Carol. Will be the official record keeper as your budget officer. And so, but Bob and I are here to help. I think the fundamental process is we're gonna use a polling process where we ask you to provide selections initially before you consider the motion, and all of that information will be shared publicly as part of this meeting. So I'll quit stealing Carol's thunder. Sorry, Carol.
So what I would like each of the board members to do is to go into the chat feature of the Zoom meetings. You'll find that down probably at the bottom of your screen, depending upon what kind of device you're on. And in the chat, if you would, instead of sending it to everyone, if you would find me in the list. So if you click on where it says everyone, you should be able to see my name on there. You might have to scroll down. I don't see my name because I'm me. I can't send myself a message.
You're like number 3.
And if
You
you
were
would,
number 2 on my list, Carol.
and if you would please put your 4 of the choices of 4 of the 6. I will record those, that polling, and then I will report out all of the votes in their entirety and the number of votes by each person.
And then the process from here is that the top 2 vote getters, or the top 2 that have the most selected, those would be the names that you would then insert in when it's time to make the motion for the resolution. And we realize that this may take multiple times, and so we'll help coach you through that as well. So at this point, unless you have anything to add, we would ask the 5 commissioners to please put into their chat, and you can use first names if it's easier, to put in the chat to Carol. Carol will compile all that information and then she'll announce the results as soon as you have it in. And Carol, if you wouldn't mind letting us know once you have everybody's.
Absolutely.
Shouldn't have done that. I'll do the rest of them.
I know, this is,
I'll put commas between them instead of,
Yeah, that's a good point. When you hit return, it sends a message. So
yes, I realized it.
yeah, I did the same thing.
that's all right. Carol will be able to figure it out.
So Carol, our first name's gonna work?
Yes, but you have a person on there. You have 2 people on there that aren't budget committee applicants.
I'm sorry.
I'll respond to your message.
Okay.
Yeah, and as a reminder, all the application materials is in your board packet with everybody's names, so that helps.
That better?
Yes. Okay, now I've got to scroll up and down, so give me a minute here.
We will take a pause. We appreciate you doing this.
Carol, do you have results from everybody yet? Oh, you're muted.
I'm still waiting for Commissioner Kalani's comes helping him with that.
Okay.
Okay, who's gonna do entertainment? Todd, can you sing or dance? Bob, we'll get Bob. No, that'll cost us extra. Never mind.
Nobody wants to hear me sing, trust me.
Oh, really? You have the kind of voice. I thought you'd be a good singer.
I wish.
That Kenny Rogers, you know. Willie Nelson, maybe. Okay, well, Naomi, I know you went to the SDAO conferences. Did you go through a lot of them, or?
I went to 5 workshops.
Yeah.
4 were worthwhile, 1 was not.
That was, yeah, I went to one that was like, oh, are you serious?
But I'll report on it when we do the commissioners' reports.
Did
I
you
know
go
there
to
was
George? Did you go to George's? Dunkel?
George's. Which one
George
was that?
Dunkel? Oh, I can't remember.
You have to tell me the name of it or what it was about.
Oh, I can't remember. I'd have to look. I always like his, and I thought it because he puts in humor with it and whatnot, and all his stories. But it was like this virtual thing. You didn't get as much of that, and I was like, oh, that's kind of disappointing. That,
I only know him by subject. I can't remember who was giving the lectures.
it wasn't bad for being virtual. I mean,
No,
it's
I went
different,
to I went to 3 that I thought were very good.
yes. Yeah.
One that was okay and one I didn't like.
Yeah.
So that was
Well,
and it was always fun to go to the water caucus.
yes. Oh, of which our illustrious leader was elected to head again.
Yeah.
So congratulations, Todd, on that.
Thank you, and thank you to Mr. Haas for railroading that through, it sounded like.
Oh,
What is that, SDAO or something?
yeah, SDAO conference that we had the first week of February, the 3rd and 4th.
Yeah, see, if you don't show up, you get appointed.
No, he
I was very excited to get
already
No,
on the
he was
board.
there.
able
Yeah.
to,
I have no doubt that you were there.
It didn't matter. We railroaded him anyway.
That's true.
Chris,
Nobody
good
else wanted
job.
it. No.
that's a good thing to be railroaded into.
Yeah.
How about Carol? Have you tallied yet?
Not quite.
Okay.
So if I've tried to contact Com and let her know that if nothing else, we can just verbally, if we're having trouble getting it in the system.
That's okay. We're adaptable. We're all home. We're all waiting for snow. So
Yeah.
so excited. I am. I'm so excited. I want it to snow. I want to watch it snow and just go out and
So much for the snow so far.
huh?
I think it's still coming. I just don't want the power to go out.
You think it's still
Yeah.
coming? I haven't seen any sign of it.
Well,
No.
it doesn't, on my forecast, it's not actually supposed to start till 7 p.m. in
Yeah.
Canby.
Yeah, it's this evening is when it's supposed to start hitting here. Yeah. So excited. The sad part of it is my grandson goes, I said, we're gonna get snow, we're gonna get snow. And he says, yeah, but I don't get snow days. Oh, bummer.
Grandma can give him a snow day.
I told him if it snowed enough, we would do what we had to do, sorta, and we'd still go out and play in the snow. So kind of like
Good deal.
kind of like making him think that he's, kind of
Yes.
side things. So.
Exactly.
Yes.
Hey, Carol, ready yet?
Poor Carol.
So Todd, I just sent you a message.
Okay. All right. So,
But I think we have results just based on that.
okay, why don't you just announce what you have and we'll go from there.
Okay, so first what I'm going to do is read into the record the votes or the polling of each of the commissioners. We haven't done any voting yet. There will be a motion made based on this polling. But I will read that into the record so that we know what everybody was doing. So Commissioner French selected Aaron Blue, Paul Lepsig, Robert Rubichin, and Vasily Safin. Commissioner Anger selected Aaron Blue, Robert Rubichin, and Vasily Safin. She only submitted 3 names. Commissioner Donnell selected Aaron Blue, Robert Rubichin, my numbers just moved, Vasily Safin, and Commissioner Danielle, was it also David Shireman? Was that your, okay.
Yes, it was.
And Commissioner Kalani selected only Aaron Blue. So what I have is,
Do you have anything from Commissioner? I'm sorry.
Garrison.
Garrison.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Garrison, that was the other one I was looking at. Commissioner Garrison had Aaron Blue, James Dilly, Vasily Safin, and David Shireman. Is that correct, Commissioner Garrison?
Correct.
Okay,
Carol, can you repeat Commissioner Angers, please?
yes. Aaron Blue, Robert Rubichin, and Vasily Safin.
Thank you. So they only did 3.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I couldn't figure out a fourth.
So,
That's all fair.
so by my count,
Karen or Carol, can I hold on?
yes,
Let's see. So actually, I think I ended up getting Commissioner Kalani's votes instead of you.
okay,
So that would be Aaron, James, Vasily, and David.
okay, perfect. So the results, I think, make this rather easy if that's the direction the board would like to go. We have 5 votes for Aaron Blue and 5 votes for Vasily Safin. So that would be the positions for the 4-year term. So that would be the first resolution.
So Commissioner French, we're ready then to proceed with this first resolution with those 2 names. And then before you get to the second resolution, we'll repeat this process with the remaining.
Okay, all right. So
Oh.
we're going on to Resolution 02-2021, appointments for a 4-year term to the Budget Committee, beginning with biennium 2021 to 2023. Do I have a motion?
Yes, I move the CRW Board adopt resolution number 02-2021, appointing Aaron Blue and Vasily Safin as Budget Committee citizen members for 4-year terms, beginning with the biennium 2021 to 2023.
I second the motion.
All right, is there any other comments or discussion? All right, then Karen.
Commissioner Anger,
Yes,
Commissioner Donnell,
Yes,
Commissioner French,
Oh, yes.
Commissioner Garrison,
Yes.
Commissioner Kalani.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, So now you're on to the two-year terms. And so we're going to repeat this process, but you're down to the 4 commissioners. So you need to pick, or excuse me, the 4 applicants. So you need to pick 2 of the 4 applicants, and then we'll take the highest votes or the highest selections from there. So if you could once again do that to Carol. So the is James, I'm just going to use first names. James, Paul, Robert, and David are the four candidates.
Um,
So if you'll select 2 and send that to Carol.
whoops.
This time I will follow the directions and put them. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, I did it again. No, I didn't. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, this is actually working out relatively simply. So I will again read into the record the selections on the second polling. This is for the 2-year term on the Budget Committee. We have from Commissioner French, Paul and Robert. Karen, is it okay if I just read the first names?
Yeah.
From Commissioner Anger, we have Robert and David. From Commissioner Donnell, we have Robert and David. From Commissioner Garrison, we have James and David. And from Commissioner Kalani, we have James and David. So that gives us a total count for David Shireman of 4. For Robert, we have 3. For James, we have 2 votes or 2 selections, and Paul, we have 1 selection. So the highest 2 selected would be Robert and David.
Thank
Carol, I'm sorry. Commissioner Andrews again. I somehow missed that.
Robert and David.
Thank you.
Okay, we all good? Okay, all right, so Resolution 03-2021, appointments for 2-year term to Budget Committee for the biennium 2021 to 2023. I will entertain a motion.
I move the CRW Board adopt resolution number 03-02021, appointing Robert Rudeshine and David Shireman as Budget Committee citizen members for 2-year terms for biennium 2021 to 2023.
And I second the motion.
Okay, Carol, please. Oh, I'm sorry. Are there any further comments or discussion? Okay, Karen, please.
Commissioner Anger,
Yes.
Commissioner Donnell,
Yes.
Commissioner French,
Yes.
Commissioner Garrison,
Yes.
Commissioner Kalani.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Now, Carol, are you going to contact these individuals, tell them what they got themselves into? Those are tonight,
Yes, I certainly will.
and then
Over
they
your
will get a
head,
copy.
buddy.
I'm sorry, Rusty, I didn't mean to interrupt. And then they will get a copy of the budget and blah, 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 right?
Yes, we will deliver the proposed budget to them prior to the first meeting.
Thank you so much. Phew. Okay, Bob, did we do all right? We good?
I think you did better than all right.
Oh, thank you. Okay,
So if
moving
I-
on.
Really correct.
I'm just gonna, so I think it is important to note that, you know, it was exciting the fact that we had 6 very
Yes.
qualified applicants. So this kind of made this process a little bit more challenging than what most special districts I think face, and just very tickled to be able to have the quality of applicants that we did. So I just felt that needed to be pointed out.
Yes, I do shadow that. I was really surprised, and boy, I tell you what, the qualifications, I mean, people are, you know, and I appreciate, and I will say this again, if you did not get on the budget committee, please do not stop being involved, because we value your opinions and your comments. Join us for our meetings. It means a lot to us. So thank you all for applying. Okay, I'm going to move on to the consent agenda. Does anyone have any questions or comments? Hugh?
No, I don't.
Okay. All right. I do. And Carol, I had to ask. I'm sorry. I went through this and I sat there and looked at it and chuckled. And I said, I got to ask. On page 6, check number 91830, Consolidated Supply Company for Brooks Motel 65 cover and lids. Could you just kind of tell me what that's about?
That would be parts for a meter.
Was that what it is? A
meter-
Brooks Motel 65 is parts for a meter?
Well, the meter at that location.
Oh, okay. Well, I do read this stuff.
I appreciate it.
No tell motel.
Okay, parts for a meter. I Oh, wow. Okay, thank you so much. You clarified that.
That might have been
Sorry
model.
with that. But,
I think that was actually model instead of motel. Might be a-
oh, it should be model. Oh, come on, motel.
No, I think we're right.
That's funny. Okay.
We're okay.
All right. At this point, I will entertain a motion to approve.
I move we approve the consent agenda.
Nice second.
Commissioner Anger,
Yes.
Commissioner Donnell,
Yes.
Commissioner French,
Yes.
Commissioner Garrison,
Yes.
Commissioner Kalani.
Yes,
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you, everyone. Just asking, just had to clarify that. Thanks so much. Okay, we're going to move on to the informational reports, the quarterly report. Carol, you're up.
It's me again. Hello again, everybody.
Hello.
So I am again presenting the quarterly report. This would be through the second quarter of the fiscal year 2021. So we're now 75% of the way through our biennial budget. And I'll keep this kind of brief. There's not really a lot of changes from our kind of trajectory from the last time when I told you about the first quarter. We have revenues are slightly higher than the 75%. That is to be expected because of the seasonal nature of the water sales. But we also have the rate increases that were delayed from May of 2020 were implemented November 1st of 2021. So we had a billing cycle for commercial customers as well as a billing cycle for our residential customers that came out in the end of November and end of December that included the rate increase. We have foregone some revenue due to delaying that rate increase. We did that with the consideration of the impact to our customers of the pandemic. And we also have not been charging late fees to our customers. So it's hard to tell exactly what the financial impact of the not charging late fees is, because if people anticipated a late fee, they might have paid. But looking at our aging now, there was, we are seeing greater extent of unpaid invoices that are kind of creeping into the older categories. We have had some revenue that is higher than what we forecast. And one of it is earnings on investments. Part of that is we've actually spent money a little bit slower than we would have anticipated. And so we've got more money sitting in the bank in the investment accounts. And we've also received some grant funding. We were able to participate in the CARES Act funding. So we got reimbursements for some of our cost. It doesn't reduce our expense. It goes in on the revenue side. So we're seeing that there. So the aging balance of over 90 days is not looking, I guess I'm supposed to have come showing my PowerPoint slides. Sorry, Cam, I just saw your comment. So I'm on about page 6 now. But I can slow down or go back if anybody wants to see other slides.
You're fine with me.
Okay. So yeah, I think we got one more, and we can kind of see the impact on our aging balance. This chart is a little bit, or this page is a little bit different than the page that was sent out to you. I had some definitions of like all statuses and just active status, and I removed that from the graph, so the definition wasn't needed. So what we're seeing, the blue line is our current year aging balances that are over 90 days old. And the red line is where we were a year ago at this time, or at the end of December. We did, as discussed with the board, we did shut off a few customers in the month of February. The payments on those accounts will be visible in the next quarterly report. These were customers that had not contacted us in any way or paid us in almost a year. And we did send certified letters to them prior to shutting them off, so that they, again, had an opportunity. We got signatures back that they received the mail, and they had an opportunity to contact us before we got to the shut off date. We're getting ready to do one more round of those, like the next worst payers, and we sent the letters out today. Okay, come next slide, please. So when we look at the personnel services, we're at about 68.7% of the budget, which is 7.9 million. And this slide also I updated from what was included in your packet. I'm happy to send out new slides to you if that would be helpful. And if you calculate, I didn't fix that one, it's 75% of the budget would be 8.6 million. And the reason we're below the 75% is we do have some vacancies that hadn't been filled or weren't filled for the whole time. And we also had some retirement payouts that we anticipated earlier in the biennium, and they have not occurred yet. Okay, next slide, please. And in our materials and services, we're a little bit under the 75%, but we're, we're still able to buy what we need to keep operations going. And in the capital outlay, if you recall, last time we were at like 27%, which is really low, and now we're at 58.6%. So in 3 months, we purchased some of those capital items that were in the budget. Next slide, and you can go on to the next one. So our system development charges revenues are pretty low still at 43.1%, but we do have, we anticipate a rather large payment on system development charges by the end of the third quarter. So hopefully the story I tell when we're reviewing the activity through March will be different and better. Next slide. Our capital improvements project fund, I'm showing the actual for fiscal 20 and for fiscal 21. The list of projects, these are all the projects that were in the budget, so you can see kind of how we're doing on each of those projects. And I know in the latest update, like the 82nd Drive water line. I think we completed the design on that. So I don't think there's really anything to add there. The Leland Road master meter, I think, is a project that is being delayed to the future. So we will not expect to spend that 480,000. Next slide, please. And again, the backbone projects are completed. We have had a few like kind of wrap up punch list kind of things and a little bit of staff, CRW staff labor being charged to it, but the charges are minimal. And we're still within that budget. We're at 99.5% of the budget and we don't expect to go over it. And that's all I have for the quarterly report. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
I don't remember to turn myself on. I have, Carol, just a question. On page 2, the expenditure status report, the credit card processing fees and the bank charges. Did we go to, I haven't got that far in the new budget yet. I'm reading it, but I haven't got that far. Have we kind of jacked that up for the new budget? Because we know they're only going to go one place. So,
you know, I do that every budget and I never forecast that one, especially the credit card fees. And it's a combination of things. It's more people using cards, more people using cards that have a premium because they're kind of benefit cards to them. You know, they get their miles and we end up paying more processing fees. And also with the rates, as our rates have gone up, then the amounts that they're paying are greater.
okay. And then on page 4, I'm just curious, under materials and services, the overhead labor and equipment, we're like over for $195,000 plus. What happened? Oh, the fires. Probably.
No, is that okay? I've got to find
Okay,
that.
page 4. It's the under materials and services.
I have these all open as a document here. I think this is the one. So that's the balance that we have remaining is, and that's a negative number because the budget for that is a negative number. When we apply any CRW labor or equipment to capital projects, we charge overhead to those capital projects and we credit the overhead back to the general fund. So that negative number is a good negative number.
Oh, okay. Rusty.
Just haven't gotten.
Oh, okay, Carol.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Rusty?
Yeah, I had a couple questions, Carol. On the shutoffs, when we didn't receive any response from the accounts that we shut off, have we knocked on any doors? Or do we do that at all?
We typically don't. And certainly we had information on at least one of the properties that the owner had moved out, and we had been in touch with the county, and they believed that there were some squatters in that house. So we do try to be careful with putting any of our staff in harm's way.
Okay, so that's one out of how many?
I believe we started off when we started making phone calls and sending out the letters, we had about 50 accounts. By the time we sent the letters, we were down to 21 accounts or 31 accounts. And by the time we shut them off, it was 21 accounts. And some of those
we don't know the backstory on any of them.
No, not until they contact us.
Okay, well, I suppose
I'm gonna just say this.
I'm gonna say with a shut off, they probably will, won't they?
That's what
second question was system development charges. You said you have one large payment you're expecting, and obvious question is from whom, but a more important question is what's the certainty of that payment?
The payment is certain. I just don't know if it's going to be by the end of February or the end of March. And it was
okay.
Commercial development.
Thank you.
Okay, just reminding everybody, please allow individuals to complete their answers so we can get all the facts. All right, any other comments or questions? All right, then. I guess we move. Yeah, we don't need anything. Okay, we move on. Oh, we're on the management report. Todd, you're up.
We are, and I'll keep it relatively brief. In your packet for agenda item 4, you have the written report. It's fairly short this go around because we just met a little while ago as far as our work session. So I didn't have a whole lot of things to share with that. I think the only thing that's really happened since we last met was the fact that the legislative session, Oregon legislative session has started. And so I just wanted to make sure that the board was aware. Kind of one of the ways we track things is through Special Districts Association of Oregon. And so they keep us abreast of different legislation that's of interest to not only special districts, but even more specific to water. And so I have an opportunity to participate on not only the legislative committee, but also the water and wastewater committee. So I get a chance to work with their staff on looking at the different pieces of legislation. And then we provide, sometimes they'll ask us, well, what impact would this have on CRW, or what impact would it have on a water district in general? As you can imagine, there's a whole variety of different pieces of legislation that deal with anything from public contracting to, actually, we're just talking about shutoffs, even ratepayer assistance and all of that. So we'll continue to track those things. So I just want to make sure that you're aware that there is that happens. Second thing I just want to point out in the written report is the fact that we have added a water treatment operator to our staff. So Tony Lopez has joined us. Very, very happy. He comes with a pretty extensive experience in water treatment and water distribution. So we're pleased to add him to our team, and fills a position that was vacated but due to retirement. As far as looking ahead, some things to note is that our office will be closed on Monday and on recognition of President's Day. And then I am actually going to use that as an opportunity to take a longer weekend. So I will be out of the office from Friday through Wednesday. And so Carol will be serving on the day-to-day stuff in my capacity. As always, I'm a text or phone call away, as you know. And then our March agenda setting meeting will be held on Thursday, February 25th. And we will have a work session in February that will be on the 22nd. And I'll just let you know right now, it'll be a full one. We've got a lot of meaty information to cover as it relates to system development charges and methodologies associated with that. And also we've got our report, pulling together our final report to give to you as it relates to our plan for the next 6 years of our capital improvements efforts. And so we'll be going over a lot of that information at that point. One thing I failed to note is you should have received as part of your packet, your monthly updates that you've received. So a variety of statistical information on just what's taking place. Nothing really to highlight, no anomalies or anything out of the normal on that. But as always, if you have any questions, please let us know. Also have the bill insert that was included in your packet that will go out with the billing that will go out the end of this month. And so that will be sent out. And then the last thing I want to make sure that you're aware of is last regular meeting, Julie Desmoni did present our report on our financial audit. And so one of the things she referenced was a letter about the communication of internal control related matters and stuff. So you have the hard copy of that correspondence as well. If you have any questions or anything, please let Carol and I know, and we'll be happy to go over that with you. And then as far as information that is not in the report, a couple things real quick. You recently have probably heard on the news about the one water treatment facility in Florida that had the cyber intrusion that created significant concerns and made a lot of the national press and media and stuff. And so I think it's a good opportunity just to kind of reinforce the approach that we're taking at CRW with respect to that. And so some of the issues that they had was poor password management. Passwords are critical, and so that's one of the reasons why at CRW we're required to reset your password every 6 weeks, and then we make sure we encourage our staff to make sure they're using strong passwords when they do that. A second thing is unfortunately we're using an outdated and unsupported from a security standpoint operating system. So in this instance, it was Windows 7. We are very careful to make sure that we're not using anything that is not supported, especially from a security standpoint. So we have updated there. And then also they had some issues between the computers and how they were able to communicate over. And I think the thing to note is if you're going to log into our system remotely, you're going to do it through a VPN, so a very secure network that's focused on that. So you don't have the ability to access it from other devices. I think it is important to note that just last board meeting, the board did approve a contract to allow us to implement some improvements to our IT system. And then if you'll remember, one of the things that we added to that was some additional equipment that was recommended out of the RAA or oh my gosh, I just went blank. On the big project that Don was just talking about, my gosh, risk and resiliency assessment. Oh my goodness, amazing how you forget these things. Where that encouraged some additional monitoring of cyber traffic and so on. So we added that. And so that just is another layer of protection that I guess I just wanted to say, you know, these are the steps that we're taking to prevent something like what happened in Florida. So I wanted to at least highlight that. And then last, to conclude my report, I wanted to let the board know that I have received the retirement letter from Don Bunyard. So after 37 years at the district, Don has decided it's time to retire. And so we're very obviously excited for him, but boy, Don is a person that just touches the district in so many different ways. In fact, we're developing a list of all the ways and all the things he does at the district, and it's becoming a very, very long list. So I think it goes without saying that Don's contributions to the district have been significant, and he will be greatly missed. That said, we're working on a transition plan and stuff, and so he's been very cooperative in working with us on that process and very helpful in working with that. So I'll keep you posted as we develop more information on that. So, but I just got the letter on Wednesday, so you know we've actually made a lot of progress this week with him. And that concludes my report for this evening. Just a reminder, we do have an exec session after this meeting as well, so do not go away.
Oh, dang. Okay, thanks, Todd. I appreciate that. And we'll be sorry to see Don go. He has been, especially, I mean, through the COVID and the wildfires and, getting everything together that we needed to have. He's been diligent about that. I mean, I walked into the building one day and I didn't have a mask on, and boy, did I hear about it. So
I had a couple of questions.
yes, Naomi.
To Todd. First of all, just curious, what kind of qualifications does it take to be a water treatment operator? I mean, obviously he came in with that experience, but
Good point.
yeah, I have no idea. If you
So yeah, so there's a whole list of criteria. There's actually a certification level that you have to achieve as part of that. A lot of times we'll bring people in and work them up the system. But yeah, Oregon Health Authority has a where you reach different certification levels. Obviously, these are the people that are treating our water, so we want them to be
Right, just was
confident and
curious.
have that expertise. Rob, I don't know if you want to add anything to that, or give Rob a chance here.
There are a couple paths provided, and it's a combination of education, experience, and examination.
Okay, and the other question was Don, who's retiring, is that an engineering position? Or
No.
what is it?
Yeah, Don's our emergency manager
Okay,
and safety officer. And so, yeah, so he was doing all the work on our risk and resiliency assessment, and does our COOP plan, and then of course works on our safety program. And there's a whole slug of stuff that.
so we're going to be replacing that exact position, safety officer, emergency planning.
Yeah, we're gonna. I mean, that's a good reminder. In the strategic plan, I mean, emergency preparedness was one of the things that was identified as one of our goals, and so we'll be. I always use a vacancy as an opportunity to look at that position again, just to make sure that that's where we're at and what the district needs, and so so I don't know if it's going to say exactly the same thing, but we definitely recognize that that's an area that we're going to need to have some help with.
Okay, thank you.
All right, any other comments or questions? Okay, any public comment at this time? Now's your chance, people. Except for Chris. All right, then we're going to move right along, and we are at commissioner reports and reimbursements. So I'm just going to kind of look at my screen and see if any of you have reports. You?
No, I don't have anything.
Okay. Tessa?
No, thank you.
Okay. Naomi?
Yes, I do. I went to the SDAO conference, and I won't take a long time telling you, but I did go to 5 sessions, and 3 of them were particularly good. And I went back and downloaded the materials. I did basics of public contracting because I hadn't taken it in 5 years. So I thought it was time to go over it again. I'm finding that a lot of what we need to worry about, Bob takes care of as our lawyer, because he keeps us on track. So we're a little better off than small districts that don't have their own lawyer. But it was very interesting. And it made a lot more sense to me than it did 5 years ago when I first got on the board. And the other interesting one was advanced board skills. And she mostly talked about personal stuff.
Yes.
So it was kind of like, if somebody is really being negative about a certain vote or a certain way that the board is going, sometimes there's underlying things that you don't know and how to find out about them. Taking them out to coffee legally, not asking them how they're voting, but just getting their personal feelings about things. Anyway, it was also very good. I also downloaded her stuff. And the third one that was very good was, I know that Sherry was also at this one, was how to tell your story. It was much better than I thought it was going to be. I signed up for it. I thought, but it turned out to be very good. They had some excellent videos about how utilities made their own public relations. And it was excellent. They were from California, and there were some videos that were just outstanding on promoting utilities to the public.
Yeah, streamline, yeah.
Put your message out before somebody else does. And, so that was also very good. And the other thing I wanted to say was that I did go to, it was a very busy week. I also went to the consortium board, regional board meeting, and they had a budget and a work plan for this coming year, which looks very good. And they also they did a regional waters, they also had an emergency preparedness campaign summary. And then they ended the night with a talk by Jay Wilson, who talked about some of which could happen in Oregon if we ever had an earthquake or a Cascadia event. And that was rather sobering, to say the least. So it was a good meeting. Lots of things were done.
Okay.
Todd, did you have anything to
Oh,
add
I'm
about
sorry.
that meeting, or did anything? No.
No, I think that was great. I appreciate, this was obviously the first time SDAO has offered this from a virtual standpoint. And so it made it nice where the price was right. Free was a good price because it was supported by the sponsors and vendors.
Yeah.
I was pleased with the participation at the water caucus. Where we
Yes, very good.
66 participants at that, and was pleased to be elected during the conference to continue to serve as the water representative on the SDAO board. So all in all, a good meeting, I thought.
So it was. Rusty? Rusty?
I guess he doesn't have anything.
I think he dozed off on us again. Okay.
Sherry, did you want to add anything about the conference?
Thank you, Naomi.
Sorry.
Asking. I appreciate that. I did attend Oak Lodge and Sunrise. Congratulations to Paul Gornack. He was elected president of Oak Lodge. I looked over my notes, and to be honest, it's kind of business as usual. So I'm not going to go into, really heavy detail and all that. I did attend the SDAO meetings. I can't remember how many I went to, and then what I didn't get to, I went back and seen later. It is not the same as being in Sun River and having fun with all of you, which I am not happy about. But anyway, and then hopefully next year, well, it's Eugene, but they keep you so busy. But I have to say this, even for virtual, I agree with Naomi. Most all of them I went to were really good. There was one, and the guy was really boring and talk like this, and you're sitting there kind of, so it's like, okay, well, but other than that, the information, the way they presented it, it was easy to access. And the thought that, the idea of being able to go back and pick up what you didn't get to attend, I thought, awesome. Cause I hadn't done that before. And, and it worked. I have to say too, Todd, I really appreciate the fact that you managed to schedule those SDAO meetings so that I could put my grandson online to school and be at the SDAO meeting, and put my grandson online to school and back to the SDAO meeting. So we got through that. I really appreciate that. That was awesome. So that said, is there anything else, commissioners? Hugh, do you have anything else to add, comment?
No, not this time, but I had a couple of things I wanted to ask about, but we can work on it at our next meeting.
No, go ahead. I mean,
the meeting after.
You sure? Go ahead.
No,
executive session?
Actually, I have something else to do after this.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. Tessa?
No, thank you.
Okay. Naomi?
Oh, there is a couple of more things I wanted to say. First of all, my husband reported a missing top to our outside water meter, and he was very impressed on how fast CRW got back to him and said they'd take care of it right away. So he wanted to give good customer service. And the other thing is a friend of mine who's in an environmental group, but she actually lives in Oak Lodge, asked me as a water commissioner if we had any problems with logging that was too close to the watershed or any kind of spraying. And I didn't know what to tell her. I did tell her that I thought perhaps the Clackamas River Water Providers as the umbrella organization would be a better place to go, because Oak Lodge and CRW, we all belong to Clackamas River Providers. And I told her that Kim Swan was the director, and that might be a better place to go to have those concerns aired. So I would assume, yeah. And that's it, nothing more.
Okay, Todd's nodding yes, so
Yeah.
you did good. Okay, Rusty, anything? Okay, then I am going to, I'm going to remind you that I'm going to adjourn the regular meeting and the board will hang on because we have an executive session. I want to thank Chris and Kevin for joining us. Dora, thank you. Rob, everybody. James, I'm trying to look at my screens here. I appreciate everybody attending. Like I said, those of you who applied for our budget committee and, weren't appointed, please do not lose contact and stay involved because we do value your input. So with that, I'm going to adjourn the regular meeting. I'm going to give it a few minutes, just a little recess until we can reset for the executive session. Thank you, everyone.
Oh, wait.
You need to read.
Oh,
You need to read the reasons.
Oh,
Your
I know. Bob's sitting there going. Okay.
Reaching for the mute button. of the
Okay.
unmute.
No, I'm not. I'm good, right? Yeah.
You're fine.
Okay. Okay, we're going to adjourn to the executive session. Number one, to discuss information or records that are exempt by law from public inspection pursuant to ORS 192.6602F and 192.3559, and conduct deliberations with persons designated by the governing body to carry on labor negotiations, ORS 192.6602D. With that, thank you, everyone, and good night, except for those that need to be in the executive session.
Good night, everyone.
So let's see.
Thank you.
So what's going to happen now is everyone is going to be,
Yeah, we got it.
well, let's see. Karen, are we supposed to be kicked to a room?
No, we're all.
I
all
will
good.
do it. I have to open it, but I figured you had some preamble before I did. So
No, I think we're fine just to get kicked. So just so you know, oh, yeah. Okay, so what's going to happen is you're going to be kicked to a meeting room. That way, that prevents somebody from coming into the meeting and we can have a true executive session for that. And we'll have with us, I'll make introductions once we get in there, but we have Pierre Robert,